go ahead and feel free to skip forward a few minutes until I'm done chattering and allowing people time to come into the live. We're doing a collective energy reading today, as usual, so stick around and see what resonates for you, whether that's for the collective that we're all experiencing or for your own personal experience. Welcome. And we're just going to give a couple minutes for people to start filing in. So you get to just look at me and listen to me, I guess. Barbo's basket is in full effect. Also, we'll be talking about that a little bit because it's going to get crazy for the collective. We all know, if you've been following me this long for the past few years, you already know. Okay. And sorry that I missed last week, you guys. I was not feeling well. Took the kids to the pool for our rec center's free pool day and like outdoor blow up toys, like the big water slides, And once the kids got bored with the outside toys, we went inside, and the pool room was enclosed in this hot, like indoor outdoor area with no ventilation, no air conditioning, no nothing, and the chlorine in the air was thick. You could you could chew on it. It was really bad. I ended up getting a nosebleed that night. Um, One of my other kids got a nosebleed that same night, and for a couple days after that, the kids were experiencing nosebleeds. So we won't be doing that again. Um, but it was fun while it lasted. Hello, Holly. But yeah, I was foggy, like mental fog, and not just that, I was just feeling like really off last week. So um, I was in no shape to go live last week. So sorry about that. I almost had to cancel today because Restream was acting a fool. So yeah, luckily I got it to work for me, and here we are. Hey Jade, haven't seen you in a while. How you been? I got a bunch of stuff for that trailer right outside. All right, we got a few flowing in. Gonna hit my stimming device, aka vape, in case anybody has any shit to say about it. I don't fucking care. So, has anyone else been in one of those moods like I don't fucking care? That's been me recently. I'm gonna say it's been building up over the past year or two, but lately I've been reining it in because I'm a firecracker sometimes. So one day at a time, that's for sure. It's been a doozy. We've got this rare planetary alignment right now, like super rare. It's called the Barbo's basket, and it's outer planets that are kind of forming this basket shape. Um, and all of those outer planets are really generational planets, they're collective planets, and there's a lot that's about to come to a screeching halt right now over the. I mean, Barbo's basket's going to reach years. It's going to span years, but we're getting ready to get things shaken up for everyone who lives on this planet. So um, buckle up, buttercups, because um, never before seen shit is going to take place. So we'll just have to see what that ends up being. Um, a lot of injustice being highlighted right now, a lot of inequality being highlighted right now, a lot of masks falling, like we've been talking about over the last few years. Masks are dropping. They're dropping like it's hot, you guys. Like there's, and I talked a little bit about this with Steph. He's not in here right now, but I was telling him how there's been some creators that are more so like tarot focused like me, that have been tarot readers for a while, that have built a huge platform like on TikTok or whatever, and all of a sudden they're changing to this evangelical Christianity, and saying, oh, I was saved like a year ago and now all of this is evil and I'm not doing it anymore, even though for like a year they were doing the same work, providing readings and things, which is totally deceptive. But from my position, my perspective, with the integrity that I have, completely deceptive. And it's starting to come to light that yes, like I told Steph, I said they're being paid. This is like, a for-profit movement here, and it's coming out already. And I just told him that like a week or two ago, and just in the past few days, that's been coming to light. That's yes, they have in fact been paid by corporations or private funding groups that are aligned to evangelicalism and all of that. So it's going to be coming out in all arenas, not just within the spiritual communities, not just within the governmental um, structures that are crumbling as we speak. Thank you so much. So happy about that. But there's going to be a lot is being shaken up right now, and you're going to have to do your grounding. You're going to have to um, really stand in who you are. And really, we've been working on discernment for years now. You guys know this. I know you guys have been doing it. So that discernment is going to be key as we move through this pivotal time in humanity's her story, not history. So yeah, as the divine feminine comes back, things are going to get kicked up that spark that divine feminine rage, right? So there's going to be a lot that pisses you off, that you're going to be seeing all around you in the news, in groups that you associate with people you associate with, all kinds of stuff. The masks are just falling. Um, so keep an eye out for that. Keep yourself grounded, use your discernment, use your intuition. It's going to be sharper than ever. As we move through this, it's going to be challenged more than ever too. So that discernment is key. But as we move through this time, you're going to have to rely heavily on your intuition. So just preparing you guys for that. This is the shift. The shift is hitting the fan. We've known it was coming for a long time. So here we are. We'll go ahead and get into the reading, and whoever wants to catch up can catch up. Okay. Yep, good card to start with. Bottom of the deck, we have Karma. Karma is showing up. This is like the Judgment card. This is calling you out of your old life and into your new life. This is rebirth on a grand scale, okay? This is earning those wings, earning that freedom. This is, hi, Ben. This is, allowing the past to crumble, allowing the old to fall away so that the new can finally come in. So perfect card for the beginning of the reading on this theme that I've been talking about. The cat is already crying at the door, so I might have to let her in a minute. But balance right behind that. Balance amidst the chaos. So exactly what I said. I didn't know that card was behind that on the bottom of the deck. I don't look behind everything whenever I'm placing cards. So it goes along with exactly what I just said as we started the reading, is you're going to have to maintain your grounding, your balance, as all of these things, these revelations are taking place. We missed you, Ben. Where you been? Where you been, Ben? I'm sure you've never gotten that one before, right? So as we are being called into this new way of existence, as the systems are crumbling all around us, as this rot is being brought to light, right? It's gonna jar you. It's gonna shake you. Okay, it's gonna trigger you. I am constantly constantly like, what the fuck? I'm constantly being triggered by what's going on with all of the racism and the hatred that's been surfacing with so many black and brown people being targeted for being black and brown. Okay. This isn't just their fight. This isn't everyone's fight. This is, if you see that shit, even if there aren't black and brown, if you have racists talking shit in front of you, hi Suzanne, you know, disparaging anyone else, whether that's, you know, race based or whether that's ableist. Okay. Because there's a lot that not just the US government, but it's a worldwide thing. All of that is surfacing. So you see people's bias. You see programs like DEI being removed. You see all of these things happening. So call it when you see it. If you are with your friends or your family, your loved ones, whoever, and they're showcasing this way of thought, this skewed, sick, disease way of thought, speak up or distance yourself, whatever you got to do to maintain your peace. But me being me, I would call that shit the fuck out, because there's no room for that in the new earth. There is no room for that moving forward if we're going to survive as a species, right? We all know that. We volunteered to be here. So if you volunteered to be here and you want to be on the right side of things and you want to stand for what's right, then stand for what's right, even with those whom you love and care about. Because I hate it too. I hate racism. It's stupid. Why can't we just love everyone for who they are? Exactly. Embrace and celebrate one another's cultures. I love immersing myself in other cultures. You know, the food, the art, dance, singing, painting, whatever, you know, all of the arts. It's it adds so much flavor to our experience. Why would you want to bleach it out and whitewash it? You know, it didn't make sense to me, never. And my kids are the exact same way, because I've been teaching as we're seeing all of these things unfold. The US has a lot of that unfolding right now, which makes it great teaching moments for me whenever I'm talking to my children and teaching them. And you know, we live in this tiny little mountain town, and yeah, it's predominantly white, but we have, you know, we have a mixture going on here too. And it's from the hospital. There's traveling, you know, staff that come and service our hospital for months or even years, right? um, so we have a really beautiful blend of cultural differences even in this tiny little community. And what I love about this place is most of most of the people here embrace that. We treat one another like human beings. I've observed it, and trust me, I've been, my radar has been like programmed for this. Like, I'm going to stand up for my brothers and sisters that are different colored skin than me in this tiny ass little town. Let me see you say something or do something in front of me. Like, you know, that's my protective mama bear stuff coming up. But what I see is, you know, people being treated like human beings because they are fucking human beings. They're not being treated less than, from what I've observed myself. Granted, I'm not, you know, experiencing it firsthand, so I could be wrong. There could be. Um, we all bleed the same color exactly. I get so curious when someone different shows up in my world and shows me another way. I always embrace them. Yes, it's to be celebrated. It's, you know, we should be embracing and celebrating and supporting and uplifting one another, not making these people of color go missing and worse. You know, like with the Nolan Wells case, it's huge right now in the public eye because, you know, they were able to get in there right away. Nothing is adding up. This black boy went out with his white friends and didn't come home. You know, and that's been happening so much lately. He's not the only one. He's just kind of the face case for this right now. So if you don't know it, do some research. If you haven't seen these kinds of things, you're not going to find it in the mainstream media, okay? Because they're owned and operated by the state that isn't real, or by people who are owned by the state that isn't real. So it's sad to say, but social media platforms like TikTok are the only places that you can really get truth from the people that are actually boots on the ground, that people that are actually experiencing it, right? And the disparity between uh, the more uh, blessed melanin folks and those who are not so blessed in the melanin sphere. Okay, it's coming to a head, and we need to get behind, in front of, not behind, backing, supporting as behind, but in front of our, you know, brown and black brothers and sisters. Sorry, I'm Mercury retrograde. You have grace with me because I'm stumbling and sputtering, and yeah, not a good time. Reset. I get so passionate about it because it's disgusting. So I use these current events to educate my own children, because we're growing up in this town that is probably 80% white. Okay, no getting around it. And they love their friends that they don't see the white skin color. They haven't been programmed with racism, because I choose not to feed that into my children. I use my discernment to really, things that you wouldn't really consider, wouldn't really, think of unless you were a person of color, um, which has racist connotations or racist foundations as to why and how these beliefs came about, or generalizations. Okay, so I talked to my children about this, and my last night I was talking to my twins about it, and they were like, why, like, why? I don't understand why black and brown people are treated differently than people with white skin. My kids are whiter than white. Okay, they're blonde and white. um, their hair's darkening a bit. They all got my brown eyes, but they're pasty. Okay, they are melanin deficient, and they cannot fathom and I'm like, I don't have a good reason. I don't have a good reason other than patriarchy and this hierarchical scheme, and having to, feeling so ugly about yourself and your own shortcomings that you have to project that onto other people and point out things that others could agree that were wrong with those people. That's the, to make yourself feel good, to make yourself feel higher than someone else. That's the only thing that I can come up with. So if you have suggestions or something, a point that I could bring up to help try to explain this to my children, why racism is even a thing. Like, I know the history. I teach them the history. Um, I teach them the true history, her story. I it, it's I'm coming up short, guys. I don't have a way to explain it because I don't myself understand it. So if you have some talking points that I can throw at my children to try and help them to better understand how we got here as a society, and it's been for millennia now. It's not just been a couple hundred years, and it never went away. Um, so talk about it, have conversations about it with the people that you love, with your children, with your grandchildren, with your aunts and uncles and cousins, or your friends, or wherever you're at, those close to you that you have conversations with. Talk about it, um, because it's important. It's very important. So maintaining that balance, maintaining your equilibrium as we're being rocked the fuck up right now. Okay, again, Barbo's basket, causing some chaos, flipping some tables. Okay, it's gonna happen. We've seen it. It's been happening. It's increasing. The pressure is getting worse. We all feel it. I feel it, especially. I've been boots on the ground, trying to, not technically, from the internet. Really trying to observe, really trying to place protections, really trying to gain this deeper understanding and observe this shift, hold space as these ugly, ugly things are surfacing. And it's not just me, it's a whole bunch of us, okay? It's all of us. Anyone who has logic, discernment, and intuition that practices that every day, we're all doing it, okay? So I'm just saying it's gonna get big. It's gonna get much bigger than it already has. Resurrection. with Yamaya. We have resurrection. And this is like a joyful feeling from this card, right? This is resurrection. This is the ancestors finally being resurrected, finally being listened to. The old ways are coming back around. The old ways, the true ways, like we've talked about before, the matrilineal society. People say matriarchal, not quite exactly, okay? Yes, that's a great description of it, but it's matrilineal, meaning like the pendulum has swung both ways by this point. We lived under matriarchy, that's the natural order of things. Then we swung over to patriarchy, and we've seen the inverse uh, experience of that. It's inverted, it's nonsensical, it's ridiculous. And I mean, you see that with the Joker and all of his, Hello, Scott. Thank you for joining us. This is a collective reading, so stick around and see what resonates for you. If not, thank you for stopping by. If so, welcome. I hope you stick around. So resurrection of the old, of the true way of existing, but also on the same token, okay, resurrecting those old, decaying, rotten ass demons that have been playing. And I'm not talking about demons, if you're new here, because all my people know we don't no, it's not in the biblical sense. We're talking about shadow aspects, people's own personal demons, okay, and the ones that we've contributed to, these egregores, okay, that we've contributed to with collective energy, focus, and belief. So yes, there are materializations of these demons, because they've been given a name, because they've been given belief, because they've been fed with millennia of this, okay? So all of these themes, collective themes, okay, are coming to the surface. So we're gonna see all of this ugliness, all of these ugly demons, if you will. If you know, you know. Exactly. Hey, Lori, how are you? I'm so glad you got to join us live. So along with that, all of these, these current shadows, the shadow aspects, aka demons, if you want to call it that, okay, those are surfacing ferociously, okay? They're kicking and screaming on their way out. They're throwing a temper tantrum like the fucking diapered toddler in the White House right now. So it's going to be ugly, right? Until we're able to ascend past it. But before we can ascend past that, all of this ugly shit has to come to light. All of these demons have to be faced. We have to conquer these. And we do that by paying attention, by observing, by saying, oh, I know that's how we've always done it for the last couple thousand years at least, but that hasn't worked out for anybody but the white man. Tell me who it's worked out for other than the white man. So we have to say that hasn't worked for most of us. We're focused now on thriving collectively, not individuals, not the 1%, not the handful of people who can benefit from this inverted matrix paradigm. No, let's build something better, something that ensures that we all thrive, not only survive, that we all thrive. That's what we're moving into. But before we can move away from this ugliness, we have to face it. We have to face it head on. And that's what we're seeing. We can no longer look away. That's a privilege to be able to look away. I'm privileged. I honestly, because I'm, ADHD, got the autism and the ADHD, and if I'm not personally experiencing something or not personally focused on something, it just kind of doesn't exist for a while to me. And I've had that privilege to be completely naive and unaware that this never ended. Just because slavery ended on paper for, those groups of people does not mean that it ended. They never got reparations. They never got equality. And yeah, I've experienced the shit end of the stick for the being privileged spectrum, but I'm still privileged enough to not experience being followed around the store by someone because they think because of my skin color that I'm going to steal from it, or not being singled out by the police just, oh, it's a white lady with kids, she ain't dangerous. So I've experienced much more grace from the system because of the privilege of my skin. So now is the time to pay attention. Now is not the time to look away. Now is the time to fucking stand in front of your neighbors, your brothers and sisters that are more blessed with melanin in their skin than us pasty white folks. Okay. And I know I don't just have white people watching my shit, but I'm bringing this to the forefront because we all have to talk about it. We all have to put an end to it. We, the people, hold the power. But if we're looking away and we're not standing up and we're not on the front lines saying this shit needs to change, we're not going to tolerate it anymore, how do you expect anything to fucking change? The people that are not targeted as easily should be on the front, should be using their voice, platform, voice, whatever you got. Even, like I said, if that's just talking between you and your family members or your friend groups or your work, your coworkers, which they say not to bring that kind of shit in, but trust me, you should. So now is the time to not back down. Okay. If you look like me, if your skin looks like mine, even resembles mine, okay, you need to be standing in front. You need to be putting your foot down and saying no more. This is initiation, and this is the Hanged Man card in this deck. There's a pause. There's like, I've been, like I've talked about for the past couple of months, I've been feeling this buildup, this something impending is coming. Yes, the shift. Yes, all of the systems crashing around us. But I feel momentum gathering. And it's not in a threatening way. It's not like that impending doom. It hasn't been that. And I've just kind of been going along with it and like, okay, it's going to be revealed to me, and the time it's going to be revealed to me whenever I need to convey the message. And I'm not saying I'm anything fucking special. You can go watch any number of intuitives that have bigger platforms than me. Okay. So I'm not trying to be in the spotlight. I'm not trying to say I'm anything fucking special, but I am a messenger for those who are aligned in our soul tribe, in our group, in this kind of end of the community. Okay. To convey messages. And it is something that's building. It is something that is impending. Hey, Steph. But it's not bad. But it's been kind of like the Hanged Man, like, just wait, just hang here, hang upside down for a little bit. It might suck, okay? It might feel like stagnation, like nothing's moving forward, but it's gaining the momentum. The change is already upon us. You see these, governments with their fascism and their need to control every single iota, boiling down to even your thought process. Yes, they're trying to illegalize your own beliefs, okay? They're doing this because they're scared, because they see, because their asses are showing. And they thought they had them covered. They didn't realize how big that ass was. You can't cover that ass. We're going to see it. We're going to find it. Okay? So that's what's happening right now. So yes, they are trying to tighten their grip on the collective, and not just, like I said, not just within the United States, all over. They're trying to control what can be seen, what can be spoken about, who can do what. I mean, in Afghanistan, women don't have the right to walk outside without two male chaperones. Two. Women are not allowed on sidewalks. Women are not allowed in public spheres. Girls are not allowed to go to school past the age of 11 or 12. They're not allowed to show any skin. Okay? The feminine is being suppressed right now. They're trying to strip voting rights from women in the United States. They are doing what they can, fighting as hard as they can to prevent this from happening, to prevent this shift in consciousness. And it's only speeding up the process. You have so many people that were brainwashed, that were, going along with those belief systems or channels of thought, that were just kind of, the cult mentality. Don't question it. I'm just not going to do my research or use my own discernment. I'm just going to believe whatever someone, that I deem as being higher up on the hierarchical scale than I am, to tell me the truth and to tell me what's happening, so I don't have to do my own thinking. People are waking up from that. They're like, wait a minute. They told us all of this. They told us this was going to happen and that this is already happening, and all of these things, this is what's going on. But you can't look away. All of this truth is coming out, and this is not that, and that is not this. And what they said isn't so. And what, people are awakening. And this is the Great Awakening. We've talked about it. And it is going to be a headache for those of us who have been awake to most, if not all, of the shit that's been happening for centuries. Okay. It's going to be like nails on a chalkboard, because like, we've been shouting this from the rooftops for so long. This is what I've been saying, my whole life, or whatever. I'm glad that you're finally coming to it now, but what the fuck? People awaken in their own time. Okay. Just because you have been privy to it, because you've had the information, because you have the knowledge and wisdom, because you saw it before, does not mean that they're going to come about it in a quick way just because you've had it for so long. So be patient. Okay. Be patient with these people. Because patience and grace is what's going to be necessary to get us through this. Because when someone is brainwashed and then they start to really awaken and then they escape the cult, they're not immediately knowledgeable on worldly things. They're not immediately, going to see everything clearly. They're still coming out of that hypersleep. Their vision is still blurry. They might see a few things clearly, but they're not going to see everything clearly. And if you're going to berate them, if you're going to, mistreat them because you should have fucking seen it sooner, then that's not helping anyone. That's not helping anyone. Think of how isolating that would be. Think of how isolating it was for you to be the only one for a while that was awakened to anything. Think about how good it felt whenever you started connecting with others who also saw things for what they were, who you could talk on your own level with these people because they understood, and then they would come back with some really great points. And so be patient, have grace with people. They have been asleep for millennia. It's not going to be an overnight awakening. Okay. I mean, people are awakening to things, but it's not going to be like day and night. Like, I was asleep and now I'm fully awake and I know and I see and everything's also clear, and it's not going to be like that. Okay. They need to wean off of the cult mentality. They need to, on their own timeline, be able to fully come into realization. Okay. And it takes baby steps a lot of the time for people to come out of that brainwashed mentality into thinking and operating for themselves. So again, just have some grace for people, because it's a long process and we can't expect it to be overnight. Your spiritual awakening has consisted of multiple awakenings, multiple realizations, many years on your own timeline to be able to come to these realizations in your own time. Okay, so yes, I get it can be frustrating, especially if you're neurospicy. Like, yeah, with the program, especially if you have the ADHD in there. I get it. Okay, but you're gonna have to learn how to balance yourself. You're gonna have to learn to reel it in. Okay, I've been doing the same thing. I've been reeling myself in because my high self version is like, girl, you need like, you need to get a handle on this shit. Okay, I balance, grounding, patience, love, kindness, okay? All the things that we want to receive from these people who have been, attacking people that didn't think or look or act like them, okay? We're gonna have to hold ourselves to that same standard that we once wanted from them, or even still. I don't know your life. So hold yourself to the same standards, because it's a process. It's a process. Okay. Um, that being said, having grace for others happens after we have grace for ourselves. Exactly, Holly. Exactly. Um, and a lot of us, we're our own worst critics, right? We give ourselves a lot less grace than we give to others around us. So the whole do unto others thing, I'm bringing up some culty type um, beliefs, but it's the truth. I being autistic, my entire life, I treated others the way that I would want to be treated. In most cases, okay, I had my share of being shitty to people, whether or not I knew about it, because again, autism. Um, but I was like, how come nobody else is doing the do unto others? Like, everyone wants to hurt me, and I'm only being nice and giving other people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm you know um, being open to other people's views and perspectives when they're so closed off to anything that I have to say. And that's because cult programming. That's because hierarchical, patriarchal programming. So I'm not saying be a doormat. I'm not saying fully, welcome them in and take them under your wing. No, let them scrape their knee. Let them fall down from time to time. That's how you learn. You don't just, the bubble wrap parents, even, um, they're going to try to make sure that their child doesn't ever fall. But if their child doesn't ever fall, they're just expecting that parent to be around them as a bumper at all times. No, you have to allow that child to fall down on their butt, fall down and scrape their knee, fall off a slide from time to time, or whatever you're going to do. And, you're, it's just a part of learning. You learn lessons by making mistakes. Mistakes don't mean stop trying, that's the end of the road. Mistakes mean, okay, it didn't quite work out that way, so I'm going to try it, just a little different and see if that improves, see if I get the result that I want. So, not saying to bubble wrap them, not saying bring them into the fold and be that safety net so that they don't have to experience any of the shit that you had to experience whenever you didn't know what you were doing on your awakening path, whether that's spiritual or awakening to, 3D perspectives, what's been going on in our world, what's going on now, how certain people are treated. That happened because you're a mirror. They don't see what you did. They see themselves and they don't like themselves. Exactly. And that's what projection is all about. Thank you, Steph. We'll highlight that one too so everybody can see. So, yes, be open to them, be open to welcoming them and helping them, having discussions and helping to broaden their perspective, because it's been so skewed. It's been so, tunnel vision on the certain things that the cult wanted them to think and believe and know. Okay. So, yes, be open to helping to educate, be open to having conversations. But this whole attacking people for, oh, well, that's the way you believed, that's the way you thought, that was the religion or the political group or whatever that you were affiliated with. And now that you've awakened, to, don't you hate yourself? Don't you hate the, how you contributed to how, this place got the way it is now, or whatever the fuck? Okay, I'm paraphrasing, I'm broadening it, because it's not just one thing, it's not just one political view or anything like that. Okay, be open to helping to educate them. Let them fucking fall and scrape their knee from time to time. You don't have to be the savior. You don't have to be Captain Save-A-Ho. You don't have to be the safety net or the bubble wrap around them. They're going to have to come to some painful realizations. So I'm not saying, to just completely fully accept them, and because they're still off gassing some of that old programming. They're still going to carry some of that with them. So allowing them to be what they're going to be while they're learning their lessons is going to be key. Okay. And actually we do have key right here, but I haven't got to that one yet, but we got key here. Hecate is entering the chat. Okay. We have vision, and this is right next to that resurrection card, the vision. This is the light and the dark. They're working in conjunction with one another. They're collaborating. When the light shines more on the darkness, all of these shadows, all of these things that weren't seen before can finally come into perspective. And also, shadow aspects are highlighting where we need more light, where we need more information, where we need more focus, attention. So they're working in conjunction with one another right now. The light and the dark is not good and bad. It just is. It's just in existence, because you wouldn't blame your shadow for being evil, right? If you're standing outside in the sun and you see your shadow, you're not going to blame it for being evil. You're going to be, oh, that's the absence of light in that strip of space, relative to where the light is pointing on me. So let me just walk over there, and the shadow's going to shift. The shadow's going to, it's not going to be on the same strip of ground or whatever. So, shadow is just things that are not seen, things that are more camouflaged from being able to be seen by your naked eye. Okay. So we've got a lot of this stuff that's been intentionally camouflaged, intentionally shadowed, coming to light. And the key is within. This is what this card is talking about. The key, you have it. You may have all of these other options, but that door that you're meant for, you already have the key. You already have the information. You already have, the concept. If you don't have all of the information laid out and really understanding of all of it, at least you're grasping the concept. Okay. The key is to be so grounded, to be so well versed in your own discernment and your own intuition that you can see through the illusion, because as the shadows are having light cast on them, okay, they're going to try to create a bunch of illusion, just like you see in the collective sphere right now. You're going to have all of this shit coming to light, and in your own personal life too. Mercury is retrograde right now. Pluto is retrograde right now. So there's some shadow shit that's coming to the light, and Mercury is retrograde in Cancer, which means anything that makes you feel safe, secure, or like family, home, friendships, job, whatever makes you feel secure and stable in your life, there's going to be things that are highlighted. There's going to be, past traumas that are highlighted. There may be people coming back around from your past to be like, do you want to engage with this again? Or are you good without this in your life? Hey, Bronson. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I love this deck. Nicole got it for me for my birthday a couple years ago, and I just really love it. What is it called? I think the box is over there. No, I don't know. I have my boxes displayed on shelves, and I don't know where I put the box. It's the Cannabis Oracle or something like that. If you're interested, you can find it on Amazon. But yeah, I love that deck. It's very much like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's just like their own version of it. Really cool. 444. Yay, Suzanne. Thank you for that. It's an awesome deck. So, and here, I'll show you what the back of the cards look like in case you find them on Amazon. It's Cannabis Oracle or Cannabis something Oracle. I can't exactly remember right off the top of my head. But I love it. It's really diverse. It's got, people of all colors in it. I love it for that. And that's why I also love my Light Seers Tarot, this one, because there are different types of people being celebrated. They're not just like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which was made over 100 years ago. They had only white people in that deck. So I love variety. I love culture. I love spice. I love flavor. So it's a really, really awesome deck. Both of them are. They're my favorites. Y'all, if you've been watching me for very long, you've seen me use them most of the time. I do shift with some of the Oracle decks, but most of the time I will use my Light Seers Tarot. So anyway, we are the key to the door collectively. Okay. It's not about who gets let in and who doesn't. It's we are all family. We're all brothers and sisters in humanity. Okay. The entire idea of being better than another person because of the skin that you were born with is kind of weird. It would be like, my bladder is way cooler than yours because it's shaped a little differently. That means I'm superior because I can hold my pee longer than you. Maybe only 5 seconds longer, but still, that makes me apex. That makes me alpha. Yeah, that means I'm the top of the food chain. I'm the one that you need to submit to. What the fuck? Your skin is an organ of your body. It's the largest organ of your body. It's still like, oh, mine's a little pinker than yours. So that means that I'm the best. It's absurd. But I mean, here we are. Here we've been for millennia now. We are the key. It's never been. It's never supposed to have been. Let's see which ones we can, uplift, just these select few, that all of our backbreaking hard labor or our mental and emotional energy, or whether or not we're allowed to continue living in the body that, we were born into and have endured on this fucking plane for so long. Let me go ahead and give that to you so that you can be the one that has it all, so that you can lead a cushy life, so that you can just do whatever you want, and we're just your little chess pieces. I don't fucking think so. That's not the way of it. That's not the natural order of things. It's we're all thriving, we're all supporting one another, we're all, in good spirits, we're happy, we don't have a bunch of shit to stress about, we don't have to keep looking over our shoulder at if the popo's going to come and swoop us up because of, whatever, whether that's the color of our skin, or we committed something that's considered a crime, but the people that make the rules do worse than that, and they don't see one single, minute of the inside of a jail or a prison. Or if they do something that's heinous enough to where it gets enough attention, yeah, they'll be punished, but they can be on house arrest. They can just have a little watch looking device around their ankle and be in the comfort of their own mansion and be able to, travel across the world if they want to, just as long as they say, oh, I'm leaving my mansion to go to my other mansion on the other side of the planet. So, no, no, that's not ever how it was supposed to have been. So, rules for the not for me is not how this place is supposed to function, and people are getting pissed about it. Equality is not something that should be won. It is not something that should be earned. Okay, we all came here through similar processes. Okay, not all of us came from China, and I'm not saying that as like a pun or any kind of like, I can't, vagine, okay? We didn't all come from a vagine. I was C-section, all my kids were C-section, so I get that part. We're not arguing about that. We're talking about we all came through similar processes. We were all born from a woman. You weren't born from a man, right? We all, came in similar ways. We all exit in similar ways. Everyone is very, 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 very different. I get that, but we're born and we die. Basically, what I'm trying to say. So no one should be more important than or above any other. This is what's best for us as a collective, as a human species, so that we can thrive, so that we can care for our planet, our mother, Gaia, so that she can continue to thrive. I mean, look at what's happening in Canada right now. If you didn't notice, much of the country is on fire, very much like us in the US right now. Okay. I have a fire close by that's been burning for a few days. They're starting to get a handle on it, but you know, everywhere's on fire because of all of the shit that we've done. We've trashed our fucking planet, and we know what comes as a result of trashing our planet. Climate crisis. Shit starts changing. But with Canada, the First Nations people are the ones majorly losing their land right now because their traditional ways of maintaining and keeping the forests with their controlled burns, the same thing that they've been doing for thousands and thousands of years, that was outlawed. They weren't allowed to do that anymore. And now everything is burning. And it's such a coincidence that this is all happening in the same places that their government wanted to place pipelines and data centers. They wanted to rob the natives, the First Nations peoples, of their land to build pipelines and data centers, and they were getting resistance from that. So, oh my gosh, what an opportune time for these wildfires. And no, their government has not been helping to evacuate these peoples from their lands. They've been having to escape via their own devices, their own boats, their own vehicles, if they can. Okay. All of this is being highlighted. I want to highlight something because, yes, my platform may be small right now, but I have a spotlight on me right now. I can say things, I can advocate, I can speak up, and there is no coincidence. There is no coincidence in this plane. Period. End of fucking story. So speak out about that. Whatever you need to do, talk about it. Educate people, okay? Because there's a lot of people that are still keeping their heads in the sand. Anyway, we're moving towards Four of Wands, celebration, a positive outcome, new foundations, reasons to fucking celebrate. And you know what? There's a few thousand graves that I'll want to be dancing on by the end of all this. You know what I mean? So we are, yes, we're going through some really difficult shit, burdensome shit. We've got the burden card showing up right here. Again, I'm not there yet, but it was a good time for it. So we're experiencing all of this ugliness, all of these shadows, all of these burdens. It feels like we're being squeezed through a meat grinder right now, okay? But higher perspective, your higher self perspective, okay? Zoom out when you need to, because this shit gets heavy. It's a fucking burden. It gets heavy. It's not easy. And especially if you are very deeply empathic, very, very deeply feeling. What's up? Okay, I'll fix it when I'm done. Thank you. The toilet's been clogged like too many times in the past week. It's insane. But Mercury is doing retrograde shit. So the blockages are going to be highlighted. Time to plunge them out. But we are the key. Okay? Take that higher perspective. See things for what they are. Yes, it can be all doom, gloom, death, and destruction, because that is very apparent. It's all around. It doesn't matter where you reside on this floating rock, okay? You're going to feel it. And it even if you are one of those who are, you know, more favored in the patriarchy, you're going to feel it. There's no way around it right now. Everyone's feeling the tightening. Everyone's feeling the weight of this. Even those who are, you know, white men are favored. And I know I got some white men in here. You guys know I love you. I'm not talking shit about you, because it's not about you. It's about those who, you know, who do white man things, okay? Who will take that straight up the ass and then be pissed off because that don't make me gay. You know, that old chestnut. So we are the key. We have to see things from this higher perspective. We have to zoom out from time to time. Otherwise, we're going to completely implode under the weight of all of this. We have to celebrate the fact that all of these things we've known have been happening for, as long as we've been awakened to it, which is different for each and every one of us. Okay. Um, and being so like, how are we here again? How are we trying to erase all of these rights for all of these people or all of these laws and completely reverse them? And how are we attacking people that we have no business attacking? How are we engaging in wars with people we have no business engaging with? I get it. I'm pissed off. It sucks. I feel the pressure. I cry almost every single day of the shit that I see happening, all of the shit that I see that's surfacing. But you know what? The same token, I am so fucking grateful for it that it's happening in such a big and explosive way to where no one can look away from it. It's grabbing attention everywhere. It doesn't matter what side of the lines that they drew in the sand or you're on. You're seeing it and you're questioning it. Even if you were fully gung ho for these types of things to happen, now you've got some questions. Now you're like, wait, this isn't exactly what I thought. So now you're starting to scratch the surface. What happens when you scratch the surface? You find out something, you have to go deeper. You have to dig deeper. No longer surface levels. So people are going down rabbit holes finally because they're being forced to, because they're seeing, oh, this and this doesn't add up. 1 + 1 should equal 2, not 200 zillion. Like, oh, that's the amount of, like our newest trillionaire that has, is no longer a trillionaire. Just these crazy antics that they're pulling to try to usurp as much power and as much control as they possibly can. All of this shit, it's a fucking clown house. It's a fucking circus. A lot of us see it for what it is, but it has to play out for those who have continuously kept their head buried in the sand, those who have continuously tried to look away. Yes, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Exactly. Fuck ice. I only like it in my drink. But yes, all of these things have got to surface in such a big way, and that's why it's been going on, because it has to get enough attention. It has to open enough eyes to be able to see, so that we can actually implement the changes that are impending. These changes are coming, whether people like it or not, but it's going to be a lot smoother if people can just really get on board, right? And consciousness is contagious. Once certain circles start talking about certain things, and then they all start having these conversations, like I've been talking with you guys, conversating with you guys about having with other people, that's when eyes open. That's when light is shown on this darker agenda. And that's when they're like, oh, wait, I didn't sign up for this. That's not what I signed up for at all. So being grateful for all of these ugly things that are surfacing right now. And it is not, I'm not saying this lightly, okay? The people that have been unalived, that have lost their lives in the process, so that we can gain our, broader perspective, so that we can awaken. And I'm talking about people that haven't been awakened for a long time, because we've been doing the work, trust me. But you can always broaden your perspective a little bit more, trust me. So lost my train of thought. Anywho, these things have to take place, because consciousness is contagious. Once people start opening their eyes and speaking on it and bringing this shit to light, then everybody knows about it. And then that's when we can really affect change moving forward much easier than fighting against one another. And that's why they're trying to pit us against each other, with regard to politics, skin tone, where you were born, where you live now, countries that disagree with each other's ways of existence. All of this shit has to come to light. All of it. Okay? So that we can see it for what it is, so that we can enact change that is necessary, so that we're all thriving, so that we're all supporting one another, and caring for our planet, caring for our mother, so that she can continue to live on, so that future generations of humans can continue to live on. So this is just part of the evolutionary cycle. We are leaving behind all of this shit that doesn't belong in the new earth, okay? And you see the huge split right now. People are going to really start coming back, people are going to start awakening and joining the rest of the collective. but there are some that are just not going to do it. They're never going to awaken, and they're going to just go off and be reincarnated to another world that is on a similar vibe as Earth has been for the last several thousand years. So anywho, moving on. We're moving towards wish fulfillment. Nine of Cups here. This is having all of the riches right at our feet and reaching for more, wanting more, being open, arms open to the abundance, to the light, to the truth that is available to us now. Okay. Nine of Cups is getting everything that you wanted. All those cups are full, and it's nine is a very spiritual number, and it is close to number 10, which is endings, conclusions, and new beginnings. Okay. We are moving into everything that we want, everything that we need and we deserve. Abundance. Okay. But first we have to kind of experience, because we live in this universe of duality, in this plane of duality. Okay, we have to first experience that lack of light, that lack of everything, because the sun is the happiest card in the deck. It is having everything. It's like the light is shining on you, you're getting your way, it's a bright sunshiny fucking day, and you're just living your best life. We have to experience the opposite of that, which granted we have been for millennia now. Okay, thousands of years, many of us have been experiencing the void of that. Okay, the lack of that. But for this last big hurrah, for this last big reveal, everything has to come to light. So everything that's been suffered over the past several thousand years has got to come to light. And when it comes to light, it's not a fucking picnic. It's not something that I want to go through. I know you guys don't want to go through it, but here we fucking are. Are we going to wuss out? Are we going to go and, crawl back into the cave and then just, wait until maybe someone else makes it better eventually? Or are we going to fucking stand up on the front lines and demand change? Because we are creator gods and goddesses. We, the people, are the ones who speak for the entirety. It's not the 1%. It's not the 1% that they've said, oh, we're the ones that you have to look up to for, permission and for what's right and wrong and how you should and shouldn't act and who should and shouldn't be entitled to certain things. No, it's about all of us thriving, all of us supporting one another, all of us celebrating one another together. The division and the hate is no longer able to keep its foothold here. Okay, so going to be a lot of confusion, going to be a lot of shit that we don't want to experience, but in order to change it, we have to see it's happening. We have to say, oh, we don't like this happening, so what can we do differently so that this isn't happening and making us all miserable? There are going to be, a lot of things that are surface that people are going to be like, oh, well, that benefits me, and they're going to be like, well, that doesn't benefit any of us, so this still needs to change. And people are going to act how they're going to act to show you that it's not comfortable for them to live that way. And that is activism, that is protesting, that is unfavorable things happening to other people before we're like, oh, right, okay, this isn't really working. It's only worked out for a few people. So why don't we formulate another plan, create some new foundations for this new paradigm where everybody's happy, at least a little. I mean, come on. But it's going to come with a lot of headache. It's going to come with a lot of stress. Okay. Yes, that's what we're going through right now. It fucking sucks. There's no sugarcoating it. We're not getting what we want. We're not being told the truth. The Knight of Cups in the reverse is not great, loving, happy messages that are coming to you. It's, you're being gaslit. Oh, you're being manipulated, or you're being told something that you don't want to hear. You're having to experience shit that you don't want to experience. Why? Because you have to carry some of that burden too. It's not just going to be carried on the backs of all of the people that you find yourself in your own mind, from your own programming, from your own fucking bias, that they're beneath you. No, this is your burden to share in too. And you know what? As a matter of fact, you're going to get stacked with much more of the burden, since you seem to want to deny that anyone else is being burdened by it and that this is just the natural order of things. Let's let you be the fucking camel for a while. Let's let you carry this load on your back for a while. Let's let you become so fucking uncomfortable because everybody is protesting your existence and the shared air that you're breathing before you get it. Do you see these tech companies that are starting to, like, CEOs are starting to reverse course? Fucking Teal just, like a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that, skipped the country, went to Argentina where they hid the Nazis after World War II. That's so crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you thought Hitler unalived himself? That is not true. That motherfucker went to Argentina along with many of the higher ups in his regime. Okay. And then the US adopted a lot of them too and put them in programs like the CIA. They had them doing programs for MK Ultra and all kinds of shit. Go down those rabbit holes, find out if you don't know. We're not going to go get deeper into that because it's there's a lot. Psychic development, because you're experiencing the burden, because you're seeing the contrast between what they're saying and what they're doing, because the lies that they're telling make no fucking sense in this plane or any other. You're developing your intuition, you're developing that discernment on a finer, a more, what a, I had something I wanted to say there, but then it just kind of escaped me. Thanks, Mercury retrograde and brain frog. See, frog, brain frog. I've got a brain frog, ribbit. Psychic development, okay? The light is shining on your crown chakra, you beautiful bitch. So open to it, okay? Enhance it, follow that intuition. I don't care if it's, should I get this kind of soap or that kind of soap? Use your intuition. Start discernment. Also, okay, we cannot we can't shove out discernment because a lot of people get spiritually delusional. Religious or spiritual psychosis is a thing. We know this, okay? So use your discernment. Don't just go off. If that's your choice, that's your free will, go ahead if that's what you want to do. But I'm saying, in order to keep both feet on the ground, staying grounded, staying balanced, you're going to need both heavily right now. Okay. Honor your energy. Just like last week, I had to take a day off. I couldn't go live last weekend because, my body had been through it. I'd been exposed to, chlorine chemicals and having nosebleeds and feeling weak in my body. And I just did not have an ounce to give last week. So honored my energy, postponed, canceled that live, and then was just like, I'll see you guys next week. What's up? Did Megan already tell you that? Yes, he did tell me. You can, go in my bathroom. Keep the door keep the door shut while you flush, and then open it. Flush the door. Oh my gosh. One of my twinsies. And none of them know how to unclog the dang toilet. So, all right. Honor your energy. Honor others too. Like, people don't always have the energy to expend and to give to you whenever you want or need it, and that's okay, right? We've learned that we need to depend on ourselves because we can't be using everyone else as a crutch. If you followed me for long enough, you know this. If not, then I'm saying it now. But not everybody always has it to give, okay? And being a reader, a psychic, intuitive, I've had people that have reached out to me that needed me, and I would overgive. I would, be on, I'd be ready for anyone, anytime they needed me, because I didn't have that for myself for much of my life and much of my spiritual awakening. I had to do most of it on my own. So I want to be that support for others, but there comes a point, especially whenever you are dealing with, autoimmune stuff and ADHD, like, you don't have a lot of energy to expend after a certain point, right? So I had to prioritize myself after a while, especially like with the big surge with everybody, after we all met on that other person's page in their group or whatever. I had this rush of people constantly wanting my attention, constantly wanting to direct message me and get free advice. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I will do as much as I can for those, that need it. Um, but I can't, that's not sustainable. Okay. I had to honor my own energy. I had to take a step back from giving free advice constantly in my DMs. Because no matter how much I care and no matter how much I want to be able to provide those things for people that, don't necessarily have a way to create that for themselves, or maybe don't have a whole lot of money extra to be able to pay me for my services. I had to, put some boundaries up, because no one can sustain that. Not even a person born into a real, like a not a real body. I have a real body, I swear. I mean, like a normal body, or whatever, neurotypical body, and a body that can withstand a lot of stuff and have plenty of energy to spare. Okay. That would have depleted anyone. So I really had to take my own advice, because I was giving that advice out to everyone, like, oh, you need to pace yourself. Oh, you need to stop overextending yourself and this and that. I wasn't doing it myself, because I wanted to help others. I wanted to teach others. I wanted to support others. I wanted to be there for others, but I can't be there for everybody. Okay. Neither can you. So honor your energy. If you can't show up for something, then don't show up for it. If you don't have much to give, then give what you can when you can. If you don't have the bandwidth to do something, or to, whatever, at any point in time, then take a step back. Okay. You don't have to be on all the time. You don't have to be the only one constantly, being there, showing up for other people, because let's be honest, it's not always reciprocated. Okay. Hardly ever is it really reciprocated, especially when you're an overgiver. So make sure that you're honoring your own energy. People are going to have to fall and scrape their knee. They're going to have to figure shit out for themselves. Okay. Because trust me, out of all of those people I was trying to help and all of the advice that I was giving, people will take that advice and be like, oh, okay. And they'll do exactly the opposite. Or, they're going to make their own decisions regardless. So they're going to fall and scrape their knee regardless of whether you warn them or not. You just have to let people, embark on their own journey themselves, and you can't be there for everyone. And that's not just talking about giving spiritual advice. However this translates to you in your own life, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Be calm and keep going. Keep fucking going. Okay. Even if you have to take a seat on the bench on the side of the path for a few, okay, sit under the tree, have some shade, have some water, whatever you got to do, replenish yourself, but keep going. Take a break when you need to, but keep going. Carry the torch for others to see. Wake up the world. This does not mean you need to be their only light. This does not mean that you need to be their only source of information or their only source of support or anything like that. A lot of us, me included, I didn't have support. Most of my existence, I have not had the necessary support that I really needed to thrive. Okay. And that doesn't mean that I have to, after learning how to survive on my own, that doesn't mean that I have to be the one to be Captain Save-A-Ho and help every fucking body else. Yes, I'm going to help people, but that doesn't mean that I'm the only one. That doesn't mean that I have to be, the only one available. That doesn't mean that I have to build up other people's communities for them. I built up my own. I did all that work on my own. Just because now you've awakened to certain things doesn't mean that it should be handed to you. Work for it. Okay. Do your own work, do your own research, do your own, internal shadow work, light work, whatever the fuck, for whatever situation, whatever kind of person you are. Okay. You're going to have to put your own effort in. It's not just going to be handed to you. And you don't have to be handing it to others. You can carry the torch for others to see so that they can follow in your footsteps without stopping and putting yourself at risk to, grab them up and put them up on your shoulders and continue down the same path with them and whoever else needs to catch a ride on your back. No. You can be exactly the change that you want others to be able to enact for themselves as well. Just by living your experience, just by handling your life the way you handle it, just by, existing the way that you do is enough to show others to carry that torch. They can pick up their own torch and walk right behind you, but you do not need to huck them up onto your shoulders and piggyback them on into, a new way of existence. You don't do the work for them. Everyone does their own work here. You can't do someone else's shadow work. You can't intervene on someone else's decisions, on someone else's life path. You don't need to carry them either. So just pace yourself and make sure that you are not overextending yourself and you're not carrying the dead weight of people that don't want to do the fucking work. Okay. And that translates to anything in life. Trust in the wise spirits and your prayer will be answered. So if you have been focused on something, if you have been manifesting something, if you have been praying or meditating on something, maintain that detached focus, okay? Trust that what you're doing is working out for your highest good and ultimately your end goal. If that is aligned also with your highest good, keep that in mind. I think the cat's doing flips by my door. For a little bit. It's really hot out there and it's smoky, so not very long. It was a kid, not a cat. So just keep going. Again, like I said, if you need to take a break, mental health break, emotional health break, just a physical break, whatever you need to do, pace yourself, okay? That's how you maintain the balance. You don't do it by, barreling through it and barely surviving once you get to the finish line or collapsing once you get to the finish line. Then you're not able to savor your victory, right? So same applies here. Just keep going, take breaks, get back to yourself when you need to. Self-care is a must, and that's not just bubble baths and fucking, perfumes, okay? Self-care is saying, you know what? I think I overcommitted this month. Next weekend, I'm not going to do anything. I know it's Joe's birthday party, but he's got like 150 other people that are going to be there. He's not even going to know whether I was there or not. And, I'm just going to stay home on that night and just watch a bunch of movies and eat some popcorn. Whatever it is you need to do, don't be overcommitting yourself right now. You need to retain as much energy as possible right now. Come on, Beach. Aurora, I didn't tell any of you except I did tell Steph. He's fine. He doesn't want to come in right now. Thank you, buddy. So Aurora, my dog, my little fat girl, the other night she had an emergency and I was terrified. She's doing so much better. She's all good. She's her normal self, but she did stop breathing. Like she was coughing for like a solid minute at least, and like hacking coughing. And it was like 1:00 in the morning. I was still awake. I was just chilling in bed. And she got up on the bed and started coughing. And I'm like, are you good, sis? Are you good? And like she was laying down, but like sitting up with her head upright. And all of a sudden she stopped breathing and then she just dropped her head and just laid there limp. And I'm like, oh my God. So I had to do some, like, I smacked her on the rib cage a few good times to try to like get her to cough or breathe or whatever. And then I had to do a couple of light chest compressions. She ended up being able to breathe. She pissed on my bed. And she kind of seized up while she was passed out a little bit. Like her back end was like stiffening up and shaking. And you guys know my daughter, I had seizures. My daughter had seizures. I know what a seizure looks like. So I was really freaked out there for a minute, held her in my arms, like let her lay on my chest for like an hour, let her calm down. She's been okay. I had my stethoscope. I listened to her lungs and her heart. So she was good, but it was terrifying for the both of us. So yeah, it was really scary, Holly. So I was like, the next day, Steph ended up messaging me for something. I was like, can you send some healing? Because she scared the shit out of me last night. But yeah, she's been acting fine since. It was a me thing, which did bring up some shadow work from, if you guys have been around, you guys know about my dog Akira. That was a min pin that looked almost exactly like her, that was tragically killed in a tragic accident. And I had her for 5 years when that accident happened. And I just realized when I was talking to Steph about it the other day that I've had Aurora for 5 years. And then had that scare, had that trigger. for me to do some more healing on losing Akira. So like I'm going through it too, y'all. But things like that may come up for you. Certain triggers, certain traumas may be highlighted in different ways. So just focus on what you need to focus on for healing. Pace yourself. Don't overexert yourself right now. You need to, store some energy, because there's so much of our energy that's being just siphoned from us lately with all of the shit that's going on, which is by design. But nonetheless, maintain your energy as much as possible. Hello, Anna. Love you. So glad you got to join us. So movement into balance. That's a perfect card, actually. Movement into balance. We're moving from this chaos, from this crazy ass shit, okay, into balance. And which one the balance card right here. Balance, chaos. That came up right in the early in the reading, pretty much very beginning of the reading. So we're moving from chaos towards balance. It doesn't look like it right now. Doesn't fucking feel like it right now. Shit's all over the place. It's all crazy. Okay. But it's all about your perception. We got the perception card right behind that, with the yin and the yang. So we're moving into balance. Perfect card of balance right behind that. It's all about your perspective. It's all about how you're perceiving things. So yes, you can perceive it from the way of, oh my gosh, every fucking last thing is going haywire. It's all chaotic. It's going wrong. This is being done and that's being done. They're doing this to us. They're doing that to us. They're taking this away. They're doing whatever. They're unaliving mass amounts of people. Trust me, I get it. I've been seeing it. I've been bearing witness to it. It's intolerable, but I still do it. Okay. And I've had to balance myself. I've had to reel it in a little bit there too. Stop watching so much of that kind of shit, because I'm very invested. Okay. I just can't help it. So it's all about your perspective. Yes, you can look at it all doom and gloom, because look at what the fuck is happening around you. Of course, yes, it looks like doom and gloom. It looks like a lot of shit. But in the grander scheme of things, if you're looking from that higher self perspective, that higher perception, okay, you'll see that all of this chaos is actually part of the order, because all of this shit has to surface. Everyone has to see it for what it is. Everyone has to know the truth before that can be corrected and removed, and we can move forward in only truth. Inner journey, it's going to come down to a lot of shadow work, and like I just talked about with Aurora's emergency, and that highlighting that trauma from losing Akira so abruptly. Like 1 second she was there happy living her best life, running around the woods with me, and then the next she's completely gone. She was crushed by a tractor tire that was taller than me. And yeah. It's still hard. So that made me even more grateful to have Aurora, that she didn't get taken from me like that, So real-time healing. You guys see it. This is what shadow work looks like. It doesn't look pretty all the time. It can look like you publicly fucking crying in front of a bunch of people on the internet. It can look like you breaking down in the grocery store. It can look like you losing your shit because you're having car trouble in the middle of a heat wave in traffic. Whatever it is, that you're experiencing, these triggers, it's happening so that we can move through them. Thank you, Scott. It's happening so that we can move through them, so that we can finally, accept, absorb, put them to rest, and continue to move forward. Because whenever we are, traumatized and we get hung up on our triggers, instead of dealing with those, hi Duncan, instead of dealing with those in healthy ways and being able to, integrate those things and move forward with our life, every time something happens that's remotely attributed to or tied to in any way, sometimes you don't even realize the ways that things are, intertwined. Okay. So that means you're going to be triggered. You're going to just completely crumble every single time that wound is, reopened, even in the smallest of ways. So feel it, move through it, express it in healthy ways, and move forward. But you're gonna be triggered probably pretty heavily, um, even in the coming months. Like after Mercury goes direct, it's not going to lighten up. This is just this moment of clarity that we're having about past events or past experiences, past traumas, what have you. Um, so emotional release, perfect. Right after that, emotional release, also bottom of the deck energy. This emotional release is necessary for our transformation. Right behind that again, transformation, card number 22. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 is the number of stability, foundations. So you're going to be triggered. You need to release pent up emotions, things that even if you've expressed them many times before, like y'all have seen, this is not the first time you guys have seen me cry about Akira, on this channel, on any of the channels that we've had. Okay, no, because we had feral frequencies, ancestral ascension, and then just me. Okay, so throughout, since most of you guys have been watching me from day one or from month one, whatever it was. So you guys have seen me cry over Akira so many times. And that happened when my oldest son, who's about to turn 10 next month, that happened whenever he was a baby. He was like 7-8 months old. So we're coming up on 10 years. It'll be in the spring. I think it's in May of 2028 will be 10 years since that happened. And I still will turn into a blubbering idiot over that dog. Like, there's no set expiration date on grief. There's no set, start, middle, and finish of the grieving process. Even after you've healed or you've worked on healing something several times, countless times, you're still probably going to be triggered, even if it's in a more subtle way than it was before. That shows that you've healed quite a bit, right? Because now you're not just crumbling and breaking completely apart when you're triggered. Now, yeah, you may cry. Yeah, you may want to scream or express emotions in some way, but it's not what would have turned you into a vegetable for a few weeks before, right? So take these as signs of your healing. It doesn't matter that you're being, re-triggered or you've got emotions that are still coming up from these things, because they're not easy to, like, I will probably always cry over that dog. She was my baby. She was my best friend. She got me through some of the hardest things that I ever experienced in this life. Not the very hardest, but I've been through a lot of hard times. I've been through a lot of shit, y'all. And so she was no longer there when I was going through the hardest. Gosh, see, emotional expression, it's got to come out. But the hardest thing that I ever had to go through, I had to do it alone without her. Not completely alone, but mostly. I didn't have a lot of support, and I didn't have her. So we bonded. And healing is messy. And showing your emotions, I don't care what gender you identify as, anything like that. Showing your emotions is not a sign of weakness. Okay, that's programming. You're much stronger when you can actually express your emotions without shame. You know that? And I have no shame. Yes, I'll apologize because I'm trying to do something, trying to provide something for you guys, and I'm like also kind of juggling my own shit, years long, really old shit, and you guys will see me cry on here. It happens, okay? No, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of it. I do kind of apologize when I shouldn't be apologizing, I guess, because I'm trying to get this reading done and get you guys the reading, because this is all about you. This is all about the community. This is all about the collective. But, I stumble over my own shit sometimes. And that's natural. That's normal. And you shouldn't be embarrassed or afraid or, regretting showing emotion, expressing and getting that shit out. Okay. It shows that you are human. Duncan, are you serious? I gotta let Duncan out or else he's gonna cry the whole time. He came in for a snack. He wants out immediately. Hey, Duncan. Go on, baby. All right. Big Daddy Loki's coming in. All right. Good job. So, express your emotions, okay? And if you need permission to do it, just remember me ugly crying on live in front of a bunch of people on the internet, and I don't fucking care. Okay. Your life plan is unfolding as it should, even though it doesn't look like you want it to right now, or it may not. I don't know. It might look exactly like you want it. And if so, I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you. But for most people, they're going to say, oh, it could be better. Or this is not at all what I had planned for myself, or whatever the case may be. Okay. Everything is still unfolding as it should. And that's for you with your own personal experience, but also as the collective experience, because it's shitty. No matter which way you slice it, it's awful. It's horrific. It's shitty. There's no question about that. But yes, it is unfolding as it's meant to, because thank you, Suzanne. I love you. Because people need to see. They need to see the plain truth for what it is and what it always has been, because everything's been shrouded in lies and secrecy and, secret puppeteers pulling the strings on the people that they say have been pulling the strings. But nope. Every single public figure, politician, celebrity, well-known group, doesn't matter what it is, there are the marionettes above them they don't care about being famous. They've controlled this plane for centuries. They don't care about being known for being the controllers. They manipulate and do everything behind the scenes with the players, the chess pieces that they have on the board. So this is all coming to light. Everything is unfolding as it should, because these things have needed to happen so that we can course correct, so that we can get back to the normal, natural state of things, and not this inverted, fucking upside down, crazy bullshit matrix paradigm. If the world around you seems turbulent, then stop. Just like I said, take a break, take a breather, take care of yourself. Self-care is so important right now. Express those emotions, purge them, get them the fuck out, and just be with yourself. Hold yourself, sit with yourself. And that could be meditation, that could be prayer, whatever you want to call it. You guys know I don't condone religions, but I also believe that everyone should believe the way that they want to believe, right? As long as it's not harming anyone outside of them. And I have some bones to pick with structured religion, with mainstream religion, because it does harm people. So I'm sorry if you don't believe that it does. That's my belief. I believe that you have the right to believe that it doesn't, but I also believe that you should have your eyes open to the fact that it absolutely does. Okay. Believe, pray to whoever you feel like you want to pray to, but don't try to force that on anyone else. Okay. So if you believe in the Abrahamic religions, the Abrahamic God, then by all means, go do that. Off in your own corner, the fuck away from me, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. So you're going to hear it from me first. Okay. So meditate. We'll just say meditate. Okay. Meditate, go within, hash out your shit, express whatever emotions you need to let go of, because that's forgiveness. That's release is forgiveness. It's not saying, oh, that's okay. I know that you completely ruined my life and completely traumatized me and did the most awful stuff to me, but that's okay. Come here. Stay in my life. That's not it. Forgiveness is release. It has nothing to do with placating that person or saying what you did was okay. You're completely forgiven. You have nothing to pay back. You have, no, that's a debt. That's a karmic debt. You're going to have to square up in your own time. I'm not going to have any part of it because I don't want any part of your karma. If I'm privileged enough to be able to see it happen, then cool. If not, then I'm good, because what you did to me or who you are as a person or whatever the fuck has absolutely no control over me about how I live my life, how I feel, how I act, how I present myself to others throughout the day, or even to myself. You have no bearing on my life whatsoever. That is forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't saying, oh, it's okay, you're completely, abolished of having any kind of karmic debt to repay. Absolutely not. This plane, this earth plane, karma free zone now. We're moving out of that karmic shit. But the other planes where people's souls who are aligned to the karmic shit, they're going to reincarnate over there. And we're going to continue to incarnate on places that are free of karma. Karma, cause and effect, yes, the do unto others. But you don't have to learn those karmic lessons if you already learned that, oh, that should be, if you take from someone, you should pay it back. If you, do something to someone, then you should receive whatever repercussions from that. That's with the old plane. We're moving on to the new. We done learned those fucking lessons. We maintained ourselves, or we fixed whatever karma we may have sown in the past, and we learned the lesson. We're good to go. We don't do anything that's going to negatively impact people. So that would be moving to another plane that is free of karma. Those who are aligned to the karmic way of things, like I said, who don't believe that they should experience any kind of repercussions or any kind of effect from the cause that they sowed, they're going to incarnate to another place that facilitates those kinds of lessons so that their soul can finally learn that lesson and pass the test and move on to the next host of classes or the next school or whatever the hell they need to do. Okay. Omens and ancient wisdom. A lot of prophecies, actually, as of late, are being highlighted here. So, with regard to like the indigenous, and not just indigenous of the U.S., but First Nations people, all the, how ICE is capturing and disappearing our brothers and sisters. Most of them are who are targeted are of Latino descent. They are indigenous to Turtle Island, North and South America. All of the indigenous peoples of this hemisphere, of this side of the earth, if you want to call it that, are being attacked. Why? Why is that? They're trying to silence them. They're trying to cause division and hatred and all of that to continue to suppress and oppress these indigenous peoples. Okay, why do you think that is? So that they won't come to the awareness of their own prophecies starting to be fulfilled, so that they won't stand in their true power. Because yes, they do have power because they are indigenous to the lands that a lot of us find ourselves on if you are in North or South America. Okay. So of course they're going to try to oppress and suppress those things so that they don't fully connect to their ancestors and the true way of existing as they existed for thousands upon thousands of years on this land until the white man came and gave them death and disease and destruction, murder, scalping, you name it. Okay, putting them into residential schools and trying to civilize them when they were more civilized than any white person who set foot on this land. No question about it. So there, yes, it has to do with bloodlines. It has to do with indigenous bloodlines being, I don't want to get all into that because we have already been here for an hour and a half. So anyways, yes, suppression and oppression of those people, but that ancestral wisdom, that ancient wisdom is, surfacing, and it's being recognized by, indigenous peoples. And the omens, the white buffalo calf, and like the blue and red cochinas, all of these things have started to come to pass. And there's another one that happened recently, and I can't grasp it right now. My brain's not working on the left side because I'm right brain. I'm in the channel, so forgive me. But there are so many of these omens that are surfacing, that tie back to the ancient wisdom, the ancestral wisdom. And I'm not saying that these indigenous peoples aren't recognizing that these omens, these signs are here and that they have been surfacing. Not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that they are trying to suppress that. They're trying to dampen their energy by, attacking from any possible position that they can, including wildfires. Okay. Um, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Um, we're all seeing it. We're all remembering. We're all awakening. Okay. Masculine energy surfacing right here next to that ancient wisdom. And that is, the sun is very much something that has been honored for the apex, the alpha, the leader, being the son, God, Son, Holy Spirit, or Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. They kind of coined that whole thing. Ra, uh, Amun Ra being, Amen, within certain religious belief systems, like only praising the father, the patriarchy, the son, son instead of sun. The truth is coming to light. The sun was never the sun, as in masculine, male. We have the sun and the moon as the mother and the father, right? Because the moon controls the cycles of the oceans, controls the tides, controls feminine cycles, menstruation cycles. It's all tied together. And so they have kind of made like, oh, women are the darkness and men are the light. For so long, it's been completely inverted. The masculine and the feminine roles have been completely flipped and scrambled and turned into absolute bullshit. Where the woman is supposed to be in, cooking for the whole family, cleaning for the whole family, basically submitting to her husband every night, whether or not she wants to have, whatever, making herself a doormat for his whims and his wishes. That's not the natural way of things. The woman, in that respect, okay, under that traditional patriarchal role of what a woman should be, she is the one that is directing the household. She is the one that is leading the household. And he's the one that's said to be the leader of the household, makes no decisions, doesn't know shit about fuck about what goes on in the household or how to run it day to day. If the wife falls ill, he's completely screwed. We're talking about these traditional patriarchal gender roles, okay? That is absolutely not the masculine energy. The masculine energy holds it down, also supports the feminine, is the supportive role. Not saying that the masculine is not a leader, because in the matrilineal society, it's not going to be based on gender, who's better than who leads and who doesn't get to lead. It's about the energy that we lead with. So your gender does not matter. It's the energy, and that masculine energy is, taking the action, moving towards what it is that you want to build, what it is that you want to create. But the feminine is the creative force. The feminine is that creative energy, and that's why we work in conjunction with one another. And again, this is not genders, this is about the energetics only, because you can be any gender and still exude one or both, primarily. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us, and we all operate from one, the other, or a beautiful blending of the two, depending on where you're at mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So that masculine energy is the one that is making things happen, bringing that energy for forward momentum, backing up the plan with the action. Okay. So that's what we're moving into. The plan is always and will always be the exact same thing whenever it's done with integrity, whenever it's done in truth, not whenever it's done from a place of who can we step on and who can we crush and who can we enslave to push our agenda that is unnatural. um, Absolutely not. That masculine energy is all about support, all about, walking with and kind of holding it down energetically. But the female feminine is creation itself. Okay, it's the act of creation, and the beautiful balance of both is how we're meant to operate. It is not from that toxic masculine have to conquer and be the one and only at the top and everyone else bowing down to. No, that's not the natural state of it. So moving towards a more collaborative way of existence for every human being on the planet. But it's not just for humans, right? We're going through this disclosure, which is, yes, it's all about disclosing what has been happening, um, what faults there are in these toxic patriarchal systems. um, that very much is disclosure, and also about our star brothers and sisters, our star family. Disclosure very much has a lot to do with the extra and ultra terrestrials, and all of it, multidimensional beings, all of it. We are not alone in this plane or in this universe. A lot of us have known that for quite some time, but yes, that is part of the disclosure. So we are being prepped to not only work in conjunction, in collaboration with one another as a human species, but also so that we can expand and become an active part of the galactic and intergalactic community. Okay, so that's why it's so hard right now. That's why it's so heavy. That's why it's so intense, because we have all of this happening at the same time. We're coming to an end, a closure of this, of being the toddlers of the universe, right? Just, starting shit and blowing shit up and beating each other up and all of that, the fighting. We're moving out of that into adolescence, where we're learning how to coexist, how to collaborate and be able to live our lives, but also opening up to being able to, on a much grander scale, be able to collaborate and to work with one another and be part of the greater galactic family. So you can believe that or you cannot believe that. I really don't care either way. Just a little tidbit, go down the rabbit holes if you want to, but we are moving into new beginnings, and it has to come with the true nature of the masculine energy. Okay, and that's why this masculine card is here. This is not moving in that toxic masculine energy where we launch rockets and bombs into space, non-human being that we can get rid of, right? I keep glitching. I hope. I don't know why. I guess my computer did it. Can you guys still hear and see me? I just want to check before I keep talking. I do not know what happened. Can you guys hear me? Leave me a comment. Because my laptop screen went black. Like I can't see myself on there, but on my phone I can. So I just want to make sure. I'm finishing up, so. Can't see me. Dang it. Hear me, but you can't see me. Okay. All right. So I'll just continue talking and hopefully it comes back. I don't know what's going on with the internet. Okay, so we're moving into this era of new beginnings. I just showed you the new beginnings card paired with that masculine energy. We're moving in the true masculine, the divine masculine energy, not the toxic masculine. My cat is screaming at the top of her lungs. So with that true masculine energy, anything inverse, anything toxic, any of that chaotic bullshit cannot move forward. The true pure divine masculine energy is supportive. It is an actual partner. It is collaborative. It is taking action in conjunction with the divine plan, with the divine feminine, which is the creator force, the creator energy. It's bringing that to fruition. That is how we get our new beginnings. So, yes, we're moving out of this toxic cycle into a new one. It's going to be a headache. It's going to look real shitty. It's not going to be fun. It's going to feel like torture at times. So, keep yourself grounded, keep yourself hydrated. Keep yourself sane. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself sane, as long as it is not harming anyone or anything outside of yourself or even yourself. I'm not going to just say, outside of yourself, because we do a lot of harmful shit. We have harmful thoughts about ourselves. We, hold ourselves to a, a high standard at times, sometimes unattainably high. So be easy on yourself, be easy on others right now. Pace yourself, because trying to wade through all of this crazy ass energy on this plane right now is not easy. And we need you. We need you to stick around. We need you at your best. And the only way that you can be at your best is if you also have grace with yourself, if you are not completely overexerting yourself at any given time. Okay. Yes, there are times where sometimes you might have to go a little extra, but then make sure that you have ample resting time, so that you can regenerate, so that you can recharge, and so that you can keep your sanity in this insane time. I have no idea why it's still got a black screen on me. I don't know what's going on. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go, and hopefully Mercury retrograde will stop misbehaving with my equipment. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for hanging with me for so long, for listening to me for so long, for supporting and loving me always. I appreciate you. I love you so much. And I will see you guys next week. Same time, same place, YouTube or Facebook. And that would be 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. Pacific. So whatever time you caught me, you're going to catch me again that way. Hey, Lynn, tell Lynn I said hi. Thank you. I love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Get well rested before we start this fucking week again. I love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Take care, and I'll see you next time.